Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new around here, my name's Vader, and today we're doing something a little bit different. As you guys might have seen by the title of this video, we're going to be revisiting some of Fortnite's highest peaks. Now, this kind of content, it's definitely new for me, so make sure to leave a comment down below and let me know if you guys enjoy. And hey, you know what, on that note, if you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers, so any help is appreciated. But hey, without further ado, let's just dive straight into the video. And hey, you know what? Kicking off this video, we're going to start at the very beginning. I mean, some people consider this to be the best Fortnite has ever been. And to be honest, they have quite a good argument to say so. And it is Chapter 1 Season 1 going all the way to Chapter 1 Season 4. Now, this is very widely regarded as Prime Fortnite or the Golden Age of Fortnite or Classic Fortnite, whatever you want to call it. This was the first step for the game as a whole. I mean, for a game to get as popular as it did in its first few months of existence, you guys have to understand just how special this time period was. Like, I mean, you had some of the most goated seasons in Fortnite history. Of course, you had Season 1, which was just ridiculous. You know, everybody was running around with OP weapons. You had double pump, you had the pump sniper, you had the prime scar with 98 headshot damage. I mean, the map was simple, it was super empty, all the lighting was different, all the vibes were different. Every single part about this first season of the game just felt magical, it felt special. I mean, you were playing it and you felt like you were witnessing something special, like something that was never ever gonna happen again, and I don't think it ever can. And honestly, I can completely understand if somebody was to come up to me and say this is the best Fortnite has ever been. I mean, even Season 4, I haven't touched on Season 4 or Season 2 or Season 3. I mean, obviously Season 2. Actually, I'm going to talk about that first. It introduced tilted towers, shifty shafts. I mean, this season is just so incredible. It's insane. This was their second ever season. I mean, even talking about Season 3, which is definitely the weakest of the bunch, it was still an incredible season. You know, you had the guided rocket launcher, you had Lucky Landing, I mean, it would add so many cool things like the hunting rifle and the heavy shotgun and the clingers and the porta-forts. I mean, so many iconic items just got added to the game in these first 4 seasons. And I mean, that's just talking about the items this season brought to the table. I'm seriously underselling these seasons right now. I mean, you had so many incredible live events, you had so many incredible locations, so many incredible weapons, so many incredible battle passes, and it's definitely one of the best time periods in Fortnite history. But we've got to move on eventually, and you know what, I'm going to raise another potential peak of the game, and you know what, we're not going to move on from Chapter 1 yet, because yes, I think there is another peak hidden in this chapter, obviously being Chapter 1 Season 6 to Chapter 1 Season 8. I mean, it was such an incredible run of seasons. Now, some people might argue, hey, Vader, why aren't you including Season 5, and I did touch briefly on it in my Season 5 ranking, which you should totally check that video out after you finish with this video, but honestly, that season, it was a mess, dude. You had the spray meta, you know, you had so many broken items. Back in the day, people were calling it the worst season of all time. And I mean, there's definitely an argument to be had that at the time it was the worst season of all time. But, you know, looking back on it now, we've had some stinkers. It's easily one of the better ones in Chapter 1. But even past that, I reckon that Chapter 1 Season 6 all the way to Chapter 1 Season 8 is easily one of the most fun times you could have ever been playing Fortnite. I mean, you had Season 6, which was just incredible, you know, it introduced quad crashes, and it wasn't like the B-Tech version we got now where it can barely get off the ground. No, this was like the Prime one, which was flying all around the sky. I mean, it was frankly ridiculous. It's easily one of the most silly vehicles we've ever had in Fortnite history. I mean, Season 6 brought some incredible items. You know, you had the double barrel, the 6-shooter, the Fiend Hunter crossbow. You had the heavy assault rifle, which is one of the best assault rifles in the game. Honestly, it was one of the best seasons of all time. I mean, it was such a fun experience, and then it got followed up with an even more fun season with Season 7. You just had to be there. It had impeccable vibes. It had an impeccable atmosphere. I mean, seriously, do I even have to address the elephant in the room with this season? It introduced creative mode as a whole. I mean, seriously, that is such a huge milestone for the game, you know? I mean, even at the time, it was incredible. You had so many fun maps coming out. But of course, if you look to the future and you see what this mod caused, you know, it caused the entirety of the metaverse. It led to the creation of UEFN, you know, of LEGO Fortnite, of Ballistic and Rocket Racing, God rest their souls. I think it's safe to say that this season, even on its own, it changed the game forever. And Fortnite as we know it today would be completely different if this season hadn't gone about the way it did. I mean, you also had Season 8, and listen, in my humble opinion, I think this is easily the best Chapter 1 season ever. I mean, you just had so much fun content, you had so many fun things throughout the season. I mean, you had the introduction of interactive events, you know, with the vault dig sites, and then of course with the unvaulted event at the end of the season. You also had the vault rooms as well, which was such a fun way to like bring the community together. You know, everybody was trying to figure them out, everybody was theorizing what these things were about, and it was definitely one of the best times to be a fan of Fortnite. There was just so much going on. But honestly, in my opinion, there's an even higher peak than this, and coming up next, I'm gonna bring up Chapter 2 Season 1 to Chapter 2 Season 4. Need I say more? It's just 4 of the best seasons of all time. Yes, even Chapter 2 Season 1 I think is one of the best seasons the game has ever had. And honestly, I reckon it would have been one of the best seasons in Chapter 2 if it just didn't last as long as it did. But honestly, looking past all the delays that these seasons ended up having, some of these are some of the best seasons of all time. You know, you had Chapter 2 Season 2, widely regarded as the best season of all time. You had so much fun stuff like spy games and the mythic bosses and the AI gods that would surround them and the mythics that those bosses would drop. I mean, seriously, those 3 items would go on to revolutionize Fortnite as a game. You can't even begin to imagine how Fortnite would play today if it didn't have NPCs, if it didn't have mythics, if it didn't have AI roaming around the map. I mean, it was such an incredible run of seasons. You had Chapter 2 Season 1, I've already talked about it. It's such a fun season. It had one of the best Fortnite mares of all time, and it had the best Winterfest in Fortnite history. I mean, I don't even really need to say anything about Chapter 2 Season 2. Chapter 2 Season 3 was such an incredible season. You know, we are never getting anything like that ever again. The concept of the entire map just getting flooded and the whole season having to work around that was just incredible, you know. I genuinely don't think that modern day Epic Games is brave enough to do a concept like that ever again. And then on top of that, you had Chapter 2 Season 4, which was the first ever collaboration season. And honestly, I think this is the perfect balance between Fortnite and collab. I know it's definitely a growing sentiment that people are sick of collaboration seasons, you know, with recent seasons like Absolute Doom and Galactic Battle, but I just think that it's because they're doing it wrong. The reason why Chapter 2 Season 4 is so beloved is because it genuinely felt like Marvel had come to Fortnite rather than Fortnite adding Marvel to the game, which is definitely why I think later collab seasons just feel a little bit soulless. It's just missing that magic, and this season, these seasons, just had so much magic full of them, you know. I mean, with all of my heart, I'm gonna say this, I reckon that these 4 seasons were the last bastion of Fortnite's original feel. I mean, past this point, I think the game took on an entirely different feel. I mean, it still felt incredible, it still felt like Fortnite, but it just didn't hit the same as everything before Chapter 2 Season 5. And I mean, I know I keep saying it, and I'm gonna keep saying it over and over and over again. If you were a Fortnite fan during this time period, it just felt incredible to play the game. And you know what? Coming up next is another one of those incredible time periods. It's one of the longest ones we've got on this list, and it is Chapter 2 Season 7 all the way up until Chapter 3 Season 3. Yeah, honestly, I don't think there was a single miss here. Even the most mediocre season on this list, which, you know, it is Chapter 3 Season 3 vibing, was still goated. I love that season so much. It was so much fun. It's honestly my second favorite out of Chapter 3. But even then, we're going to talk about the rest of the seasons in this group. And starting off, we're going to talk about Chapter 2 Season 7. I mean, this season was jam-packed of just stupid items. Like, I mean, you had the Gravitron, which was just kind of like a knockoff gravity gun from Half-Life 2. You could just swing things around. You also had the inflatable, which was just absolutely ridiculous. You know, you'd literally just turn into a bull and you could just bounce around the map. I mean, it wasn't all wacky. You also had incredible items like the railgun and the recon scanner. It was such a fun loot pool. And of course, you also had tons of like things that were going on. You had the abduction of locations, and you also had the incredible minigame that you could play in the middle of a match. It was super fun. You also had Chapter 2 Season 8, which I gotta say is definitely a very underrated season. You know, a lot of people just kind of ignore it until like the final bit of the season with the incredible end event. But I mean, the rest of that season was really fun. You definitely had one of the better Fortnite mares, which added so many items to the game. You had all the cube items and you had all the sideways encounters. And while, listen, yeah, I gotta say the loot pool was definitely a step down from Chapter 2 Season 7. It did end up leading into literally my favorite season in Fortnite history with Chapter 3 Season 1. I mean, seriously, there is a reason I praise this season as much as I do. It's just incredible, dude. I mean, you had a brand new new map, you had web shooters, you had the first ever scoped assault rifle, you had the beginning of tactical movement, which would later be expanded upon in Chapter 3 Season 2, you had the introduction of tents, which was actually really cool, you could bring your weapons between matches. Honestly, I've got so much to say about every single season in this part of the list, and I wish I wasn't running out of time to talk about all these seasons, because honestly, some of these seasons are just absolutely incredible. Like, I mean, Chapter 3 Season 2 is just a really, really fun concept. You know, the whole war mechanic was really cool. You had to fight for a location. Chapter 3 Season 3 brought so many ghosted locations, with the Rave Cave being one of my favorite locations of all time. I mean, you also had the introduction of the entire Reality Tree biome, which is easily one of the prettiest biomes we've ever had in Fortnite history. And of course, you also had the reintroduction of ballers and so many fun movement items, you know, with the grapple glove and the shockwaves coming back. Honestly, like I said at the beginning of this point, I don't think there was a single miss by Epic Games, and it's incredible this ever came out the way it did. But like I said, I've been yapping about this for way too long, so we are going to move on to the next point on this list, which is actually the shortest one we have, because it was a very high peak, but it didn't last very long, and it is Chapter 4 Season 1 to Chapter 4 Season 2. I mean, both of these seasons are just some of the best of all time. I mean, especially Chapter 4 Season 2. I think that Chapter 4 Season 2 is where Chapter 4 peaked, you know, with both the map and the gameplay and the movement and the items. I mean, let's talk about that actually. You know, you had the ODM gear, you had the kinetic blade, you had the Star Wars mini pass. I mean, you had the Mythic Havoc pump, you had the overclocked assault rifle. And even looking back to Chapter 4 Season 1, you know, let's get our things in order. Let's not get sidetracked first. You had some of the most incredible content in Fortnite history. Like, I mean, obviously you had the Chapter 4 Season 1 map with Faulty Splits and the Citadel and Anvil Square. I mean, there were some of the best locations in Fortnite history. Honestly, Chapter 4 was so goated for its locations. I mean, even Breakwater Bay, which was definitely the worst of the bunch, was only bad because of how far away from the middle of the map it was. Honestly, it was just super fun, and that's the best way I can describe these two seasons, you know? They felt like really, really good Fortnite seasons, especially after the tragedy that was Chapter 3 Season 4. I mean, it just brought so much fun stuff to the game, but unfortunately, because of just how short this was, there just isn't all that much to talk about. So, you know what? We're going to move on to what I believe is the next peak of Fortnite. And I'm definitely going to be working against myself a little bit here, because I really don't like one of these seasons that's in this peak, but I can't deny that it's part of the peak, and it is Chapter 4 Season 4 all the way to Chapter 5 Season 1. Now, yes, if anyone's a big fan of my channel, you guys will know how much I hate Chapter 5, and specifically Chapter 5 Season 1, but I can't deny just how good it was together in a group with Chapter 4 Season 4 and Chapter 4 Season OG. I mean, starting off with Last Resort, you know, it was just incredible. It's easily one of the best seasons in Chapter 4. I mean, it was so much fun, you had so much content, you know, you had the vaults, which you would break into, so you'd have to kind of like burst through them with the rocket ram or something like that, which also, while I'm on that point, is just an incredible movement item. And even though it was definitely a little bit slower than all the other Chapter 4 movement items, it was still really fun. And honestly, this season was just really good overall, and it's such a shame it just doesn't get talked about well enough, because it came between some of the most influential seasons of all time, whether it was good or whether it was bad, meaning it does kind of just get forgotten about a lot of the time. Of course, you also had Season OG, which is easily one of the best seasons in Fortnite history. I mean, what do I even say? It was Season OG. Everybody you knew was playing the game. Even people who hadn't played the game before went back and played the game for the first time. That's just how generational this season was, and I genuinely think that Season OG was the last time we would ever get that much hype surrounding a season, you know? It was like we were back in Chapter 1. It also ended off with one of the better live events in Fortnite history with the Big Bang. But I mean, this event, you know, it wasn't just a live event, it was actually set up for something way larger than itself, and that was the launch of the entire metaverse in Chapter 5 Season 1. It was frankly just a little bit silly, you know? I mean, even I'm not a big fan of Chapter 5 Season 1, you know, but even I gotta give my props to it. It gave you so much to do in such a short amount of time, you know, you were spoiled for choice. I mean, going back to back between, you know, Chapter 4 Season 4 and then Chapter 4 Season OG and then Chapter 5 Season 1, you were never stuck without content. At several points during this peak, you had millions of people logging on, not even for live events, just playing the game, and I reckon that just goes to show how much fun this bit was. It was just absolutely incredible, and if somebody was to come up and say to me, you know, this was the game's peak, Fortnite's kind of been downhill ever since that, I honestly would be inclined to agree. But in my opinion, I reckon there's one more peak in Fortnite history, and I've got to say, it's a little bit of an odd one because it technically doesn't start at the beginning of a season, and it's Fortnite Bears 2024 all the way to Chapter 6 Season 2. I mean, of course, we've got to start all the way at the beginning. You know, we had the Fortnite Bears. It's easily one of the best we've had. This Fortnite Bears, it was something special, dude. I mean, it just felt like a brand new season. There was so much to do. There was so much content. And of course, it would lead directly into Fortnite Remix, one of the best seasons of all time. I mean, you had the Snoop Dogg cars, you had his mythic drum gun, and you had the Rap God minigun, which was just hilarious. It'd actually sing the song as he shot it, which was really, really fun. It just hit the vibes of an early Chapter 2 season perfectly. You know, it could have easily slotted between Chapter 2 Season 2 and Chapter 2 Season 3, and nobody would have noticed. You also had Chapter 6 Season 1, which is honestly one of the best seasons in Fortnite history and definitely in recent times. I honestly can't believe that season is already over a year old. It felt like yesterday, dude. I mean, you had some incredible weapons. You know, you had the Hollow Twister, you had the Sentinel Pump, you know, you had the Typhoon Blade. Everything about this season just had so much soul. It was so vibrant. It was so bright. It was the exact opposite of Chapter 5 Season 1. It had a beautiful art direction. It had some beautiful locations. Who I even need to talk about Night Shift Forest? It felt like a real living world. Every single bit of this map was packed with details, and it's by far my favorite map since Chapter 4 Season 2. And I mean, to cap this absolutely legendary run of seasons off, you know, we're gonna go for a hat trick. Of course, we have to mention the Fortnite Lawless, which was just such a fun season. I know a lot of people like to hate on this season, which is super weird because when I was playing it, everybody seemed to love it. I mean, you had so many fun features with that season. Of course, you had Thermite, which was kind of like the crux of that season. You could use it basically everywhere. I mean, whether you were using it as a bomb, or whether you were using it to crack open a vault, or like attack a player, or whatever you were doing with it, it was always going to lead to some kind of action-packed scene. Of course, you do also have the vaults in that season, which were absolutely incredible. I definitely think it's the best iteration of a vault that we've ever had. And yeah, you know what? Let's talk about mythics and exotics. You had obviously all the Lawless exotics that had come out in that season, you know, like the Shockwave launcher, and of course you also had the Trinity assault rifle and the Hollow Twister, some of the best assault rifles of all time. I mean, you also had mythic-wise, you had the mythic Mammoth pistol, which, yeah, actually, the Mammoth pistol came back this season, which was super good. Always a goated season when that gun's back in the loot pool. You also had tons of, like, fun content updates, you know, with the whole, like, Sub-Zero mythics. And then you also had the Scorpion mythics halfway through the season. You had tons of movement items like the Rocket Drill and the Kneecapper, which is easily one of the best items in Fortnite history. There was honestly so many fun plays you could make with this item, and I was definitely picking it up every single match. I mean, it was just a phenomenal run of seasons. It had so much fun content. It had so much to do. I mean, it's just kind of insane that we got all of these seasons back to back. And honestly, I'd consider it my personal favorite peak in Fortnite history. Alright everybody, thank you so much for making it all the way till the end of the video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we're so close to 1,000 subscribers, so any help would be greatly appreciated. And hey, if you think the game peaked somewhere else, you know, maybe I didn't mention something, or maybe you disagree with a couple of the seasons that I may have included in a peak, let me know down below in the comments. I'd love to see what you guys think. Also, just quickly, make sure to head on over and join our Discord server. It's tons of fun, we have an amazing community, and I can't wait to see you there. But hey, at the end of the day, all you really gotta do is stay safe, drink some water, and have a fantastic day. Bye-bye!